The 7th season of MFL was set to take this Football Manager Network experience game to the next level. Every player in the game was going to be redeveloped and reimagined thanks to AI photorealistic pictures that were going to be imposed on every player existing in the game, as well as now being the new default, the new staple going forward. This development promises to really change the game in a huge way, with the company already teasing the fact that we could get AI-based kind of highlight packages that would come out of matches, as well as post-match interviews. But for everyone getting stuck in this season, it's all about the bread and butter of football. Winning football matches, getting high up on the table, and getting ready for the cup run. And this season so far, I just thought I would start the video off just having a look, having these guys on screen, the existing agency of players I've already got now in their photo-realistic versions, because these are names, faces, and characters that we've got to know quite well on the channel over the last 6-7 seasons, however you want to think of it. But it did feel coming into this season that maybe a lot of the attention, a lot of the focus was on the cosmetics, was on this gameplay innovation that we've had. And coming into this year, I actually didn't play any friendly matches, didn't really do anything to prepare for it tactically for any game engine developments that we might have seen coming into this year. And with both of my teams gaining promotion, winning the title last year, you know, both of my squads are essentially like have moved up a full level, a full different running class, or, you know, whatever the appropriate expression would be there. And I've not really actually went out and reinforced the agency with many new purchases, if any. Actually, I'm not sure I brought anyone in. I have tried to sell some of the guys that have been on the fringes of the squad to try and consolidate and improve the top end of the gallery, so I can compete at a better rate in the bronze division. Because my primary team, my Barcelona's prime outfit, as it were, that's the division we found ourselves in this year, with some of the good and the great in the community. Jimbo and Calva, both halves of the When Dirk podcast, are in this, as well as Gully, who is a member of the community, as well as a number of other teams that have previously been in the division I've just came out of that got promoted in seasons gone by, and we were projected to finish second bottom with the main team. But after the first 4 games, we've defeated Calva, which was a beautiful victory, but we've won 2, drawn 1 and lost 1 in the opening 4 matches, which puts us about 4th in the table. Now, we need to wait until we do a full round of matches before we can really say we're upsetting the odds and we're going against the projections or whatever, but it feels like some good positive signs early on in the season, right before the cup kind of comes into it. We're getting ourselves into, you know, I'm not aiming for promotion. If we could squeak into 3rd, brilliant, I'll take that all day, every day. But I would certainly consider not being in relegation threat for the majority of the season a success, because on all the different metrics we've got here, the best 11 average, you know, the best 11 possible players from every squad, I'm sit here down at the very bottom of the table. When it comes to the best 16 average, I sit at the very bottom of the table. And in an actual realistic in-game best 11, so maybe like you don't play 2 goalkeepers or whatever, I'm second bottom. So there's not really anything that goes in my favour here statistically on the metrics or anything like that at all. So I'm quite happy with how it's went so far for the primary team, having now been in, we're really up in the nosebleeds now that we're in the bronze division here. But I must say the squad progression so far this year has actually been rather minimal. I've got 1+1 overall so far on the centre-back we bought last year, so it's good to see he's still got some improvement at the age of now 29. Only Hanka has got a little bit faster. Nobody's improved their shooting. That centre-back's the only guy to get some improvement on passing. We've got Nasser, who is very close now. He's 1+1 stat away from going into legendary, from becoming a Lego and getting into the 85. He'll change into being a pink card and all that good stuff. And that's been something, now at the age of 29, we've been waiting for since season 1. So hopefully he's maybe now coming into the prime of his career operating at this level of the game. So that was an encouraging thing to see. It's the first time a non-defence stat has went +1 for him, and I think he's had like a +5 on defence now across his career. It's been like the only stat that's moved until this dribbling one, so I'm hoping it's maybe a little sign of what's to come. As you can see, Nasser has got his +1 for defence, and Albert Cuckoo, who's been one of my, you know, is one of my best rated midfielders overall at 78, but he's got a +1 in defence, which makes him hopefully a little bit more capable at this level of the game now. And the striker we packed last season, Hansen, has got a +1 on physical, and again we see that centre back who got his +1 overall. But you know, across the entire agency, I've not seen actually that much progression, even when I look at the academy players. So these guys were playing in Spark last year, which is the very bottom, of course, or it was last year, the very bottom of the pyramid. And you know, they were too good for that division. We ran away with it, we won the league, we didn't lose a match, and quite clearly you would say like a lot of my players are playing like below their level, so there's not much progression there. We've been promoted into ice, and I'll show you how the academy team is done in a second. But as you can see, York Steffens has taken a +1 with a +1 on his passing, activating that. We've had a wee bit of action in the dev centre with this kid here, but otherwise a +1 shooting for a midfielder. A defender's got 2 +1 stats in the academy. And we've got Kukubo, the CDM, getting +2 on his 32, shooting up to 34. So it's not really anything that impressive. I ended up loaning some guys out that I couldn't sell right before the window. We've actually still got some free agents or whatever, so maybe see if they get loaned out imminently. But overall, nothing that great. And that makes me think, I think a lot of the players I've got in my club, I've kind of targeted over the last couple of seasons especially, guys that are closer to their prime age. So I've got a significant amount of the gallery here of the agency that are in prime age territory, 26 plus, 25 plus certainly. I've got a lot of guys in their 30s and in 31, so it's maybe not, it shouldn't be too much of a surprise that I'm not getting the same acceleration, I'm not getting the same progression that I once was, or maybe that other people do. But what I do expect from that is results on the pitch. And with Barcelona's prime, you know, even though my best 11 and all the rest of it might not actually be commensurate with my opposition that I'm against, if I'm playing against a bunch of 18 to 21 year olds, you know, I think there might be some sort of consistency element in the game where, you know, the veterans would probably outmuscle some of the whippersnappers, as it were, you know. So that might be playing in for me. Maybe I'm reading too much into something that's not there. But with the academy team, we are getting results. You know, 4 games gone, we've won 3, lost 1, and the one game that we lost, it's the only goal we've conceded. So we weren't projected to be too strong in this division. Well, maybe we were. We're second, right, on the overalls. But yeah, I didn't really feel like coming into this that confident. And I'll go back to the squad to show you why. But best 11 wise, like, yeah, we're second. But, you know, there's a down to 6th here. There's not really much in that. Same with the best 16 average. It's not a huge spread across the top half of the table here, even into the in-game 11 as well. So, you know, I don't like to write things off or anything. I've been promoted and played this game long enough to know that, you know, like, don't assume anything, don't take it for granted, because it'll probably bite you in the bum. But what I am aware of when it comes to this squad in particular is if we sort it out by positions, I actually don't have a striker. I don't have a player that plays ST at all. I've got 2 CFs, and I've got some formations where I've managed to make it just about work. Last season, I played my centre-back up front for a few games, and it did work out, and it's because he's got like the 3rd best finishing at the squad. I was tempted to play him for this coming game. I probably won't do it because it's against the team that finished 2nd with me last year, so a bit of a rivalry there, so I want to make sure I beat them and I want to make sure I do well. But this guy last year, not even when he was up front, but when he was playing centre-back, scored a worldie of a free kick, and then I put him up front, and I think he scored like 3 or 4 goals overall. Yeah, he scored 4 goals. One of them was a free kick from playing centre-half, and the other 3 came from starting up front in probably 4 matches or so. I think there was a game I played him up front, he didn't score. Maybe that might have balanced off because there was a game he did get 2, I forget. But he didn't play up there all the time. I mainly played him in centre-back. But for his overall is 64, 67 pace is pretty good. 64 shooting, I'll show you what that puts him in my squad. But to also have pretty good physical for like a forward, like, I don't think that's necessary. I think this guy's not got terrible stats depending on the level of the game you're thinking about, etc. Now, he does go red dot because he doesn't have the proficiency to play up front at all, of course. It's not a secondary position, no sort of cheat code element like that going on. But when I look at the attributes of this squad here and I rank them by shooting, last year he was 3rd, but this year he's 4th. So maybe Steffens is improved recently and kind of caught up on him there. Because they're joint on 64 now. So he's like joint 3rd best finisher in the squad. So I'm kind of half counting him as like my 3rd choice striker. And that's why, like, coming into this season, I wasn't super confident on the academy team. And I did put extra focus, and we said this in some earlier content before coming into the season, on making sure that we don't concede any goals, because if we can keep it super tight at the back with this team that has like next to no firepower, although a good squad, don't get me wrong, that might just about make up for it. But if we're not going to score that many goals and we do concede like an average amount, we're probably going to be dead in the water. So we have to like have a super good defence. And for the most part of the season with this one, it doesn't really talk about tactics in the prime team. We'll maybe circle back to that in a minute. But in this team, I played 5 at the back for the beginning of the year just to keep it like mad tight and just try and see how that would pan out. And, you know, for the first game of the season, we were away from home. That worked out nicely. A nice wee 2-0 win. We played the same team in this one, and I did think before coming, I actually forgot to change my tactics for this one. I did plan on changing it. But when the game started and I seen like, okay, well, I've played like on paper the best kind of 11 here for it. We won the last game 2-0, there's no real reason to change it. It backfired, we lost 1-0, we just didn't create enough chances, quite simply. And then we followed that up with playing Common Farms Ossiek. Now, we've played a Common Farms game or two in our time, and we stayed with a nice same formation again, and it really paid in this time. Steffen's got 2 goals, Fleming was wild, Martinek was good, and again, we didn't concede any chances. The opposition were, they got some shots away or whatever, but considering we were away from home, I thought that was quite good. The last game we played at home, and we have to mix it up when we're at home. We're going to be dominant and we're going to be looking to attack teams a bit more or whatever. We scouted the opposition. This is the team we went for, and we won it 2-0 quite nicely, which was lovely. I was disappointed in the first game of the season, losing it 3-1. The red card maybe looks like a wee bit of a wee bit unlucky there, Quinny. But the red card happened at 2-1 down, and then they went 3-1 right afterwards. So it kind of just made sure I couldn't pull a drawback in this one. It was quite a tough game, and tactics-wise, I just felt 4-4-2 had the number of the 4-1-2-1 formation here, because in the game it was actually quite tight, but goals just wasn't there for us. Didn't really feel we could create any chances. So I went gung-ho in the next game. I just thought, you know what, if we're at this level and chances are going to be really hard to create, let's go for it. I scouted this guy. This was the shape he looked to be playing coming into it, and I thought, do you know what, if he's going to be playing 3-4-3, I've got 4-2-4 up my sleeve. I kind of bottled it out of playing it last season. I think I played it once and it backfired, but let's go for it. I played it. We won 1-0, and I was actually really surprised we came out of this with a clean sheet in a 4-2-4 shape, but I guess it was just a good styles make fights boxing match kind of situation where we just had enough to kind of squeak through it here. Captain defender, so we were extra solid in the tackle and everything else. He did get a red card in the 54th minute. We're already winning 1-0 by that time, but gave me a bit of confidence. And then I knew going to play against Calva, I thought one of two things. Calva will either scout me and try and adapt appropriately, or he won't scout me and he'll just follow his own kind of mantra. So I scouted him as best as I possibly could, and you know what, ultimately I just thought, let's just go for it again. He's probably not going to expect the 4-2-4 against him. He's probably going to expect me to go diamond again, or something similar to what I did last year, perhaps, if he has scouted me. And I thought he's probably not going to back on this coming out twice. We went for it again. He played the same shape as my last opponent, and we won 2-1. Now, he scored right at the beginning of the game, so I was gutted in the opening proceedings of this match. But, I'll show you the goals for these ones, because I don't think they were actually that good, but it was an important match, I suppose, in the community, so we'll stick on at least my goals. If you want to see Calva's goal, you can check that out in your own time. But some nice play. Vandy from distance and off the post to pull us back into it. Yeah, I remember really celebrating that one because it was a World Day. But I think this Hansen goal, no one gets the assist for it maybe, or something like that. It's an alright finish. It's a good striker's goal, but I don't think it's that impressive. But yeah, I picked somebody's pocket, hits it from range and just gets it. A good angle, good power. Keeper's got no chance, so that was lovely. And that really put me on cloud 9. I thought, brilliant, at this level we can have a good shot at it. We were taking on Mediterranean, who were like in the same kind of zone of the table as us, and we drew 2 each. A 2-each draw I'm not too bummed out about. I expected him to play either this shape here, or he had another shape that he's played already this season, so I was between the two of them, and I went with this kind of defensive midfield build. And this is one thing that my squad I really feel has as a USP in this division, is this midfield three that I've played here. Albert Cuckoo, 81 defence, 81 passing, good everything else, of course. Hanka has got good defence at 77, but 83 physical is where it's really at for him. Decent pace and passing makes him really serviceable. And then Jerry Herbst, 82 defence, high passing, good pace as well. So being away from home, I kind of opted for those guys versus, and I can show you this because by the time this video is out, the game will have played. But against Bankers Geneva here, I'm playing the same shape, but I'm playing Vandy in here, who you see just scored that World Day against Calva. He's got 75 shooting. The defence isn't quite there. Physical makes up for it slightly, but he's a much more attacking option essentially. And then Zatko, who is normally a cam for me, but can play CM at 75. He's a 76 rated card, so it's not a handicap really at all, is it? But he's got 94 pace, great passing, great dribbling, and a guy that can hopefully carry me up the pitch. So even within this same shape, the kind of variety within the roster I've got can give me some different options and some different combos. And I've went for kind of a defensive midfield in the last match, and this one is a bit more attacking, and I can do combinations, mix and match of the two. And with my wingers having good finishing and the way the team's built, I think, this maybe, I'm happy I've got that tactical kind of dimension into the squad here, where I can really think about home, away, the strength of the opponent. and how to just make sure, because I'm really up against it in every match, that I get the best opportunity to draw, win, not lose, whatever you want to think of it as. And we've had to kind of stretch those same muscles for the foundation team. Now, you might be asking, what is the foundation team? Everyone who's a channel member, the FC Barcelona, my club, my Sorare club, my MFL agency, has a member section here on the channel. And if you want to pick up your season ticket, it's £1 a week, £4 a month. We do lots of different beginners content. When you click on the membership, the link is in the description of the video. YouTube will explain it all to you in great detail. But for MFL specifically, the main perk that comes with that is you can get any player that you own, it doesn't matter how well they're rated, into the Barcelona Foundation squad, which is currently in the Stone League, which means you can get yourself some Stone MFL earnings, even for having a really crap player that shouldn't be at this level, as long as you've got a season ticket. We've got 25 spots in the squad every season. We've only actually filled 23 so far this year, and we will have a mid-season transfer window, so if you've not got a player in yet, just bear that in mind, reach out to me, we'll try and make sure that happens as best as possible. We can make free transfers in the mid-season window, and anyone who does have more than one player in here, I will just kick a player out to bring someone else in if you're a member and you don't have a player in here. Ideally, this squad has 25 different agencies represented in it. That's the sweet spot for FC Barcelona. And then with the quality of players we've got, so far from you guys this year, it's actually been pretty good. Last year, it's not too dissimilar. In fact, I would maybe even argue our best 11 might have had a better average on the statistics last year to this year. But this year, it's just better, well-rounded, more well-rounded. Now, last year, the foundation was ranked in it second in the league, and we really thought, you know what, we should be pushing for promotion. And this year, we're ranked in it third again, but we know how difficult it is with the foundation squad, where they're not really talent IDing players. They're being nominated, and we're trying to, you guys will nominate a few and say, Quinny, pick one, and we've maybe had more options this year. I feel that we've got a much better balance to the squad so far, but we're ranked to be right in amongst it. But look at this, the best 11, 74.82. Down to 9th is 74 still. A super, super tight division. In game 11, but it's 75.2. And again, down to 9th is 73.7. So there's not really anything in it. Really, really tight. Maybe you'd say Wild Eagle looks to be the strongest team here in the division. And maybe Tyre and Aarhus are maybe right down in amongst it, struggling. But so far, we've played 4 games and we have won 3 of them as well. And we're sitting, kind of as projected, as predicted, in second place, which has been lovely. And I must say, guys, the foundation team has been absolutely on fire. We opened up this season with a few players returning from last year. Van der Zee, it was a 67 rated right mid. We got this guy last year in from Club Z, Toxic Lightning, as a 65 rated right mid. But he gets a +4 at cam, and last year he went from 65 to 67, and that +4 at cam now makes him a 72 rated player, or +5 it is now. Was it +5 before? Anyway, very significant. So he's come back for this year. We've also had Goddard come back as well, our playmaker midfielder, who's very effective last year. And then our mid-season signing from last year, Escalante, who's meant to be a cross between Pirlo and Xabi Alonso, I'm told. He has been quite effective, actually. He's a joy to watch. They have returned for their second season, but otherwise it's a whole new look team everywhere else. And some of these guys, you can see the score in this first match here. Van der Zee scored 2, Wilkins got 2, Connell got 1. Wait till you see the Van der Zee goals, but he got a penalty, and when he got the penalty, when it showed up that he was the penalty taker, I was like, oh no, I forgot to set the penalty takers from last year. Obviously everyone else has been deleted because they're not still in the squad. He's the last guy that's there. Please score it. He did score it, that was lovely. But then right after this, it was still in the first half, Van der Zee stands over the ball for a free kick, and you're going to see a bit of a recurring theme here. But he gets his second goal of the match, swings one in, top bins, and you can see he's running away. We're at home, guys. He's running away to celebrate there. He's swinging the shirt over his head. He's absolutely loving life. He will die for the Ravens, Van der Zee. This is the third goal of the game. Can't really remember this one off the top of my head, but Escalante is the one that plays it in. It's a back post cross to Wilkins, and that's a nice finish for him. And then we get our fourth goal through Connell. And this was some nice build-up play as well. I think he's got good pace, Connell. Is he going to break the lines here, maybe? So this was the first game of the season. So, no, he just finds himself pretty much in a good spot and finishes really strongly. And then the final goal of the game comes from Wilkins. Now, Van der Zee was going to be man of the match at this point in the game. I think we'll be able to see that, actually, thanks to the lovely graphical aids that we get here. Yeah. But then Wilkins gets his second goal of the game. and jumps up to an 8.5. Robin van der Zee of a Man of the Match award, which he probably deserved with that free kick, but Wilkins, 2 goals from open play. It's hard to grudge him that, eh? But that got us off to a great start, winning 5-2 beginning the season with some buzz. We then went into the second game of the season. As you can see already, we won 3-2, but I went all-out attack on this one. We went 3-4-3. We tried to mix it up a little bit, bring in some different names and faces, and we won 3-2. And this was a kind of helter-skelter match across the board, where like last season there was definitely some, I don't know if it was complaints or observations or whatever, that a lot of goals were coming within the single half. I've noticed that's not really the case so much, you know, but I've definitely noticed that results can flip in the second half. I've made it happen once or twice myself. Tuncer. I think Tuncer had a great match in this one. Van der Zee scores in this one, and I told you there'd be a recurring theme here. Van der Zee over a free kick again from about 25 yards out. Zings it top bin again. Van der Zee is a club legend, a club icon already. And yeah, he scored 2 goals. We don't care about them. We won 3-2 at home, which was brilliant. And at home, Van der Zee on free kicks is cheat code. We lost 1-0 to Herz United. I'll show you just the team and the tactics. We're not going to look at the goals or anything like that. But we stayed with this attack formation at home, and it was a tight game. You know, we only lost 1-0. He scored right on the turn of play. And I think if we look at this goal, it was quite spawny. His XG kind of warranted it, you would probably say. But outside of that, all the other statistics are quite well balanced. And yeah, missed opportunity for us. But as you can see, we've started this guy Yu 2 games in a row. He's quite good, don't get me wrong. Rob Sees gave us him in. He's got good versatility as well. But he's not quite best 11 calibre. We kind of readjusted the squad with a new signing. Well, I say a new signing, but he came in much later and he wasn't in the preset tactics. So we put Connell into left wing because he is a striker left winger. And that means we can play Tuncer on right wing here rather than the boy Yu. And it turned out to be a little bit better. Away from home, we got 2 goals in this one. We won 2-0, and it was Tuncer on the penalty spot for the first one, and I know Tuncer scored the second. It's Tuncer's second season as well at the club. We never gave him his dues earlier on because he never opened the season with us when we played that 4-3-1-2 shape. But he takes his time on the ball, really staring the keeper out there. Oh, it was 2 penalties. Wow, talk about spawny. 2 penalties. Jesus, man. Yeah, really tight game. I forgot that. I don't know why, but that was a good one. That was good fun. And now we're kind of set up. I've set up the team now for We Are the Norse. Now, this was the very first team when we made this hostile takeover of this club. And if you have not seen any of this content, I'll link it at the end of the video, actually, if you want to check it out. But from when we acquired this club, We Are the Norse, or We the Norse, was the first game that we played. And we've played against them every season so far. So, wee bit of a rivalry coming in there. They are normally reckoning, they're actually a bit mid-table there. I thought they were a wee bit higher, actually. But in the projections, they're normally quite closely in amongst us. But when we come into this game, I'm looking to go back to the 3-4-3 shape, and we're mixing up the kind of the midfield combinations and everything else. Now, that's a little bit down to energy optimization, the fitness. But the main thing I want to draw your attention to here is performance. So we've played 4 games so far, right? All these players down here haven't featured yet. Felipe, who is a 59 rated centre-back, and Frisk, who is a 42 rated centre-forward, are very unlikely to play more than once for us, right? But the other guys down here will get minutes over the next couple of games. Mira is definitely in the rotation at centre-back. Seeger is going to get some minutes in midfield. And Bostrom, I actually think, is a pretty decent-looking CF, so we can try and play that formation, that shape, to rotate him in when the time comes for it. And Milano and Nemec, the other goalkeeper that we've got in here, again, will have their time to come in and play. And that will most likely be in the first cup game that we've got against Sporting Rosario, where I can still play a really strong team, but I'm making sure some of these other guys that haven't played yet get their minutes, get their opportunity to maybe get some progression, and just ultimately help the cause. We can rest some other players because it's a good squad we've got here, but similar to my primary squad, it's quite evenly spread of talent, and there's different options, different weapons, depending on what formation we want to play, where the strengths of the opponent is, or what strengths we want to try and underline in a match potentially, or whatever. So we really need to be on our rotation game in a big way, and it's not through rotation for rotation's sake, but it is down to scouting the opposition, which is quite fundamental, I think, for a lot of the strategy that we do here at FC Barcelona. And so I think we've got off to a pretty good start when it comes to the foundation, when it comes to the Ravens, as they're affectionately known, the community team that you guys are running here on the channel with me. It's a very well decorated club. We would love to add some silverware into its decorated history, of course. And I think we've got a merry bunch of men this year that really could do it. We need some revenge on Hares United. And last year we didn't get out the group in the cup with this team. This year I would like to see us do that. I'm not too sure how strong our opponents are this year. We'll give it our best. We're not deprioritising the cup or anything like that, or overly prioritising the league. We are sincerely taking it one game at a time, and I think that the squad is so wide and equally adept or capable that we can really just play this centre mid, play that right mid, mix it up appropriately, get everyone a good spread of playing time, and maximise. I think maximising energy for us in this kind of squad situation could be a good kind of, not say the primary team I've got, it's not necessarily for maximising energy, but it's more having diversity and quality, so I can play defensive, I can play attacking, I can mix it up or whatever. With this, it's kind of always going to be kind of attacking with whatever okay defenders we've got in the team, but it's maximising what type of attack we want to have against the opposition is probably the best way of putting it. Now, we did quite well last season on progression with the foundation team. A lot of the high rated players that come into the squad, because I think they were really challenged with carrying the weight, carrying the burden of the team on the pitch, they were just involved in more in-game actions, and I think match XP is way more valuable than training XP. So I think, that's the reason that the good rated players last year actually progressed so well. So far this year, similar to their squads we've looked at, we've not really had that many overalls actually progress. Van der Zee is continuing to improve. His pace has got a little bit quicker. Sam Rogers, a centre-back, is slightly improved on that. No one's got better at shooting or passing. But dribbling, we've got 3 guys getting a little bit better, which is fun to see. In defence, nobody's improved. And physically, nobody's improved either. So, we've won games, we've played well. We're at a good level for a lot of these players. Is interesting to see, isn't it? We definitely felt last year the progression dried up in the last 3 or 4 games altogether. Maybe it's maybe not flipped on its head, but maybe kind of more symmetrical with when it, so maybe the first 3, 4, 5 games there's not really much. The last 3, 4, 5 games there's not very much. And maybe we get that kind of band of progression kind of in the middle of the season when the cup is on and mid-season break and all that kind of stuff, So, had a lot of fun this season. Van der Zee is a free kick cheat code. There's no 2 ways about it. And I think there will be guys in your squad that are like that as well. I mentioned Morel, the centre-back at the academy team earlier. I definitely think there's some guys that it might be some sort of combination perhaps of, shooting with dribbling or pace or physical. It could be any one of their statistics. I imagine that there's other statistics underneath them. Personally, I've not examined the white paper to confirm this. Again, comment section, feel free to check me on that. I just feel that some guys have got some secret stats where, Lecoq, if you give him take long shots, he scores bangers. Some other guys, when they take long shots, always miss the target. Don't even challenge the keeper. And when I see Van der Zee, because we do in this game engine now have curling free kicks, they do have swerve and that sort of stuff now in the mechanics. I think there's some players that will have a knack for it, and I don't think we will really be able to figure out what it is, but I would be interested in trying to, So any theories, any suggestions, any hypotheses, again, feel free to drop them down in the comment section down below. If you notice for yourself any free kick wizards or any other kind of game metric breaking or cheat code guys that have maybe came out of your squad with the early matches you've seen so far, really interested to catch those bits of feedback, stories, details, whatever else it might be as well. And I've got to say, after looking at all this especially and having went through the first 4 matches at point of recording, I'm feeling a lot more confident in the agency this year than I was. I was actually quite worried with the promotions happening and me not really reinforcing the squad. The only thing I've did for the main team is I've brought 1 guy in on loan and it's centre back, but otherwise it's just the same team as last year. And this guy's a centre back left back, so he's kind of trying to do 2 jobs for me in the squad. So I was a bit worried that maybe, not really getting someone else in to upgrade the squad might bite me on the bum, especially when I seen those projections. But at FC Barcelona, it's all about tactics, it's all about scouting the opposition, and it's all about picking your players, knowing what you need in the squad, getting the right balance of the attributes of the tactics and all the rest of it. As well as, one thing I do really enjoy is the multi-positional element as well of it. And again, that's content we've kind of done a few times over. We'll maybe talk about that in more detail as the season rumbles on. But yeah, we're absolutely flying. Last year we picked up all sorts of play. We won all the player awards in Iron, as well as winning the league. We won our first league in Iron. We won the academy. The academy team won a league in Spark, which is cool. We've started to build up our really cool trophy cabinet in the agency, and I was worried this year it might have just not had anything going for it, but now I'm really crossing my fingers and toes we could be adding some more silverware into the trophy cabinet again this year. On screen are now some other stuff that I've made that the YouTube thinks you might enjoy, as well as I'll put on that video that when we bought the foundation team, how we went about targeting, ideating and acquiring a club off the secondary market, in case you missed that video and you want to check it out. If you haven't done so already, please do hit the like button, subscribe for more content like this. Stay out of trouble, and I will catch you on the next one.